ladies and gentlemen. We welcome everyone to this wonderful program. We are going to start the program immediately. We're sorry we took some few minutes from the message that was sent. We're supposed to start at exactly 10:30, and that is what we are doing, but due to registration and also the red carpet picture taking, so we took a little bit of our time. But we promise that it's going to be interesting, it's going to be very brief. All we need for every one of us to do, whether we are here physically or we are online, we want you to just prepare your mind, because we have seasoned professionals that are here this morning. On a personal note, I am privileged to be standing in front of the MD, the CEO of Pharma News. He's a man that cannot be hidden everywhere. He's a man that cannot be hidden, because if you work in the pharma industry, every month you must see his picture. Every month you must read from him. And there's always something interesting about him. And beyond, apart from him, we have seasoned people, wonderful people in the house this morning. And honestly, I'm also privileged to be, in the house this morning. I believe that whatever you are going to learn here is going to transform you as a person and your business, and is going to transform your career. So I want us to sit back, relax, and capture everything that you need to capture from them. It's going to be a wonderful time. But before we go further, we need to give honor to the creator of the universe, our God himself. So I want us to just be upstanding so that we can say a word of prayer. I would like to hand over the microphone to Pharmacist Dave.
Thank you so much. Please, your cup, sir. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Our Lord and our God, we thank you once again, because it is your will that man should improve your creation. That's why you've given us intellect, you've given us free will, and you've given us the spirit to associate. Father, we thank you for this association that is waxing stronger and stronger. Father, today, as we begin to x-ray the federal government's budget for 2025 and the implications for the industry and for those of us who are stakeholders in the industry, Father, I pray, O God, that you give us the spirit of discernment. You give us insights that we would know and recognize the opportunities therein, and also recognize the traps therein, so that we'll be able to develop appropriate strategies to overcome them in the name of Jesus Christ. For everyone here, Lord, we commit them to your care. We commit their businesses to your care. And we ask, O God, that you continue to take preeminence in all that have concerns us in Jesus' name. For our members that are on their way, we ask, Lord, that you hasten their footsteps here. And for our speakers, Lord, be with them. Give them the spirit of delivery and excellence in execution today in Jesus' name. Thank you once again for this body. This body will continue to grow from strength to strength to the glory and honor of your great and mighty name. For this and other blessings we pray and ask through Christ our Lord. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Thank you so much. Before we sit, let us just quickly take the national anthem. Thank you. Media. The media will take it while we just follow through.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace all battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hand unto our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty Nigeria may be blessed.
Thank you. You may have your seat. Usually when there is a program like this, and when you have men with lot of suits, there's this belief that it's going to be extremely serious business. But I don't want us to take it too seriously. I want us to loosen up, because if you are too serious, you may not capture what the speakers are going to say this morning. And I want us to learn something, because this is the word, they say, in due season. This is just the word that you need, and it's coming at the right time, the beginning of the year. Something to transform our business, and something to, truly affect us in our career. I make bold to say to you once again that the people that we have prepared for today, they are seasoned people. They are people of high intellect, people that are vast in business and pharmaceutical business, most especially. So I want us to please open our mind to receive what they have prepared for us this morning. Before we go further, I would like to, you agree with me that the powerful man that is standing beside me is no other person than pharmacist Folorunsho Alaron. Please put your hands together for him. This morning, he's joining me to give us and read for us this citation of the chairman once we introduce him. So I would like the chairman of the Society for Pharmaceutical Sales and Marketing of Nigeria to also come with us to introduce the chairman of today's program. Please, sir, we need your attention, because powerful men, they deserve to be honored in a special way. So I would like to hand over the microphone to the chairman of the Society for Pharmaceutical Sales and Marketing of Nigeria to call him up while pharmacist Folorunsho Alaron do the citation. Thank you.
The chairman of the occasion for today is no other than Mr. Bensi Chine. Maybe it's time to let people know that he's not my boss, he's my grandfather's boss. Please stand up for the conclusion. Mr. Chine, please stand up. Okay.
All right. I would like to do a small citation for our chairman for today's occasion, Mr. Benson C. Chime. Mr. Benson C. Chime is an alumni of the University of Lagos, where he obtained the Bachelor of Science degree in Sociology, and later on to have the Masters of Science degree also in Industrial Sociology in the years 1979 and 1981, respectively. He joined Guinness Nigeria PLC as a marketing trainee in 1982 and became the area sales manager, and later on to become the brand manager, the divisional sales manager, the sales operations manager between the 1984 and 1993 years of operation. He has had extensive sales management training, including work attachment in the Guinness Brewing Worldwide in Park Royal, London, St. James Gate, Dublin, and Chartered Institute of Marketing, Cookham in London. He continued his career in Stanley Product Nigeria PLC as head of sales function in 1994, repositioning the sales force for outstanding performance. Later on, he joined Gemini, popularly known then as Bayer Pharmaceuticals, as the general manager, leaving a track record of impressive growth results. He is the founder of Sales Consults & Co., a management development consultancy company, providing support to both indigenous and multinational companies in Nigeria. He is a widower, but blessed with 4 children. Please join me to welcome on board our chairman for today, Mr. Benson C. Chine.
Okay. The next person is from Oluseye Timothy Agbola. Baba Olowo. Please stand up for recognition.
Our guest of honor for today is Farm Oluseye Timothy Agbola. He's a pharmacist with a degree in MBA and also Merit Award winner. Farm Agbola studied pharmacy at the University of Lagos, where he obtained his Bachelor of Pharmacy in 1987. He attended Lagos State University, Ojo, Lagos, for his master's in business administration. He is also an authority in marketing. He started his career in pharmaceutical industry with Merck, Sharp & Dohme, popularly known as MSD, as a medical sales representative in January 1990. He has worked in various pharmaceutical companies and rose through the ranks and files to reach a management position in the industry. He is currently the CEO of Dottimank Ventures Limited, one of the leading importers of ophthalmics, pharmaceuticals, consumables, and medical equipment in Nigeria. He belongs to various organizations, such as he's a member of Lagos Lagelu Grammar School Old Students Association, University of Lagos Alumnus, Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, the PSN, Nigerian Association of Industrial Pharmacists, NAIP, Nigerian representative of overseas pharmaceutical companies known as NairoPharm as well. He has served in various capacities in all these groups. Join me to welcome on board Pharmacist Oluseye Timothy Agbola, our special guest of honor for today's occasion. Welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, pharmacist Folorunsho Alaron, and the president of the Society for Pharmaceutical Sales and Marketing of Nigeria. Just a quick announcement. If you are not a member of this association, then you are not yet selling in the pharmaceutical industry. Even if you have spent over 20 years, you are not yet there. So you must register, be a member before you leave here this morning. And also, if you are streaming online, please send your details to the appropriate quarters for your registration. I tell you, this is the future of pharmaceutical marketing. So it is better you are one of us now before you are forced to be one of us. Just a little correction before we continue. I was called to ask that the person who is holding the mic, that who are you? So I am very sorry I didn't introduce myself. I've been mandated to hold the mic for the next 2.5 hours. And my name remains Yomi Daniels. I have been in the pharma industry. This year will make it 21 years. So I am glad that I am a member of this society. So please tell your neighbor, tell your friends wherever you are, and whenever you get home or when you get to your business places, that they should be part of the moving body. I call us the moving body. So thank you so much, Mr. President, for the honor that you have done this morning, and also pharmacist Folorunsho Alaron. In case you don't know much about pharmacist Folorunsho Alaron, he is the GM of Daily Needs Pharmaceuticals. So Daily Need Group. Okay. So he's the current GM. And he just told me before he left this place that if you are looking for employment, please see him immediately. I didn't say after the service. I mean after the program. At this very point, we would like to hand over the microphone to the chairman of today's program for his opening remarks. Please, can we put our hands together for him? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by sending my appreciation and gratitude to the President and Chairman of Council for deeming it fit to invite me to this occasion. I'm really grateful today. I'm grateful. And I would also like to appreciate the other members excuse me, the other members of the council here present. I would like to appreciate you, and I would like to say congratulations for a successful organization of this event today. I would say it's successful because even the number that we have is not bad for a start, and I would like to believe that other people will probably be on their way. So once again, you are welcome to the event, and I would like to appreciate each and every one of you. I would say that you started on a good note, Tunde, for organizing this event at this time, because that is what serious organizations do at this period of the year. Between January and February, serious organizations will usually meet to fine-tune their strategies for the year, to have a preview of the year, and then fine-tune their strategy. So well done for doing the right thing at the right time. I remember then in Sterling, we used to spend up to 3-4 days on budgeting, planning, targeting, and all that. And I'm delighted that one of a team member of mine then, though he was a young man then, Dr. Dave Ikweme, is here present. Dave used to be my area sales manager in Benin. When I joined selling, he was the area sales manager. And once I went to Benin to work with everybody, all the sales reps, because the best way to place your staff is to go to the field and work with them, and not based on what you are hearing. So I worked with everybody. I didn't allow anybody to influence me. I went through through the annual reports of each individual without anybody knowing, and recorded it before I now went to the field to match what I saw in the report with what the person was doing in the field. And it was then I discovered Dave. At the end of that trip, I said, "You must be in Lagos. You are not for the Benin market." And Dave eventually came to Lagos and turned it. Within 1 year, I saw the MD. I said, "The result you're talking about in Lagos was as a result of this young man called Dave." And the MD thanked me for it. And I think Dave was eventually he was rewarded that year as the best area sales manager for the year. So this is what we should be doing with our team members. If you have the privilege of having people work under you, you must be able to extol the qualities in them and let the world see those qualities. So thank you very much for the opportunity given me today to be here. And in addressing the topic before us, I would just urge everybody to have a positive mindset. A positive mindset in the sense that we already have some indicators that 2025 is not going to be a bad year at all. We have indicators that we have seen that our GDP grew last year during the last quarter, coming to 3.64% growth. We have also seen that that our foreign exchange, there's stability in the foreign exchange, which wasn't the case at the beginning of the year last year. But towards the end, it was obvious that we are beginning to see some sort of stability in our foreign exchange. Our revenue to debt recovery, ratio is a lot better, up to 68% before the end of last year. And then the IGR is doing very well. We have a strong posting of the IGR, internally generated revenue. So these are some of the indicators that should give us hope that 2025 is not going to be a bad year at all. I will, however, want the Pharma-Sales marketing organizations to leverage on these indicators by addressing certain issues. The prevalence of fake and adulterated drugs is still very much around. I will want the organization to address stuff like that. Import dependency is still impacting on availability of drugs. We still rely on a lot of foreign imported pharmaceutical products. These are some of the challenges. The healthcare infrastructure gap is still there. The rural areas is mostly affected. They don't have access to good quality drugs. And the patient education is not there. So these are some of the opportunities which I think if we're able to tackle these challenges, there will be a lot of gains. And then regulatory hurdles, they are still there. I don't know. I think the farmer organizations should build more pressure on the government to do something about regulatory issues. And then I will also make the following suggestions. I would like to ask the Pharma-Sales marketing organization to invest in digital sales. I think digital selling has gone to stay. It's not going to go away anytime soon. Just as direct sales will never go away. Whatever digital does, it will never overshadow or mask the direct sale. Direct sale will never go away. So while we are strengthening our direct sales approaches, we also must invest in digital sales, because for the younger generation and for the youth today, they are all after digital selling. Then value-driven sales is what we recommend. This is not a time to push volume and just push volumes. This is a time to add value to the customers. If you have any customer buying from you, the customer should be deriving some other benefits, not just that you have made the product available to him. So we have to add value. Maybe patient education is one of it, drug education. But when the customer leaves their place, there must be something the customer must have internalized beyond the fact that he has taken the product away from you. So look for all manner of values that you can add to your product. And, of course, partnership, you will never... The pharmaceutical industry is one that is known for partnerships, and that will continue to grow. That is more relevant, is even much more relevant now than ever, that organizations, especially medium, small-scale companies, should come together to form alliances, form partnerships, so that they can withstand whatever vagaries that is taking place in the economy. So I recommend strong partnerships, and also pricing. Pricing is an issue. The other day, I wanted to pick something from the pharmacy, and I thought I had enough money. And by the time I priced one, and I think I had about 20-something,000, and they were saying 30-something,000 for almost a sachet of a drug. I said, my God. So always think of the others who are not able to afford a packet at a stretch. A customer may have money for a sachet. Is there any way you can break bulk for such customers? So not everybody, when you are doing your pricing, always try to remember that everybody walking into your pharmacy may not have enough money, and the person actually requires that drug. So what can you do? How can you strike a balance between making your sales and still offering what the customer is looking for? So I don't want to waste much of your time. I know that you've done well, that the speaker is burning to exhaust what she has. I can only urge you to pay attention and ask as many questions as possible, so that we can extract so much from this Iroko tree, because that's the saying of my elders go. You don't climb Iroko tree every day. So when you manage to climb one, try to gather as much as you can from it. So now that you have a wonderful speaker, it's a wonderful opportunity to extract whatever she has. And on that note, I would like to once again welcome everybody and enjoy your conference today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we put our hands together for Mr. Ben once again? And I think that next time we're going to have this kind of gathering, it should be mandated that all the managers from the pharmaceutical company should be part of this program. Because if you actually heard him, he talked about pharmacist Dave, that used to be one of his managers those days. And if you will agree with me, with due respect, some of our reps these days, I think they still need to go through this kind of learning. Even though we are not there yet, we have not invited the speaker yet, but I think it's something that is very important. Before I call the president, I need us to put our hands together for him for bringing up this kind of association. Can we put our hands together for the president? You know, because long before now, sales rep, people join sales rep because they don't have other jobs, isn't it? Because there's no job. So they just want to go and join to sell. They believe that it's just the act of selling. And when you get there, it's the fastest way to get official car, isn't it? Because once you and a driver those days, yeah, so it's the fastest way to get official car and all that. But he's professionalized the act of pharmaceutical selling. Please, I need to especially, apologize that I'm bringing him, up at this point in time. But, the big fish you take your time. I remember some time ago I was given the opportunity to sit at the lounge, and they bought me fish. When we look at the fish, the size of the fish, I told the person that, please, I cannot eat here. Let me take it home. Because, there are some fishes that when they give you, you need to get home, sit on the floor, and attend to it specially. On that special note, I want us to put our hands together as I make welcome the president of the Pharmaceutical Society for Pharmaceutical Sales and Marketing. Please put your hands together for him. He's a strong man. He's a man with a lion heart, because it takes a strong man, to put up this association. How many of us agree with me that everyone here, if not for any reason, by the virtue of what you are putting on today, you are very important, isn't it? So we are all very important. I don't know why everywhere is so quiet. We are all very important, isn't it? Okay, so put your hands together for yourself. Another important personality that is with us, I just want him to stand up for recognition. He's no other person than pharmacist Benga Folabi. He's the immediate He's the immediate past national PSN secretary. Please put your hands together for him. We really appreciate your presence here this morning. There's something about this gathering. Exceptional professionals are the ones sitting here. So I'm privileged also, when I kept looking at him when he came in, that I know this face. But now somebody has revealed his identity. Pharmacist Sheye also, we want to say special welcome to you. Sir, this man, I'm not permitted to say a lot about him, but he's an Iroko man. Yes. For somebody to, his line of products, they are not the line that that you can easily sell in the market. But yet he has been in that industry for some time now. We need to, put our hands together for him once again. Pharmacist Sheye, we appreciate you, sir. I met you just once, yes, when you were within the estate, Omole estate there, before you moved to the permanent side. Before you are now still going to, I believe there's another permanent side that is coming. Because I tell you something, the chairman has given us words of encouragement to tell us that Nigeria is going to be a better place, that there are some indicators that we have, that 2025 is going to be a better year. And it is on that note that, we are putting up this kind of program. And that's why I said, open your heart to receive something before you go this morning. Yes, I think about this time, I am permitted, I usually say that good things come in small packages. But I don't know how to describe the person that we are about to call. I think I'm there now. The person that we are about to call, she is a lady amongst many men. You understand? And there's something that she did this morning that most of us did not notice. I came before 10 a.m., I think about 9:40 something a.m. I met her. She was already seated, waiting for us. She's one of the few speakers. I don't want to mention the name of one program that I went for. And when we got there, we practically waited for almost 2 hours for the special guest to arrive. If I mention, they will crucify me because this program is being streamed live. But this speaker is different. When you see people that are organized, you don't have to be told. They just act it. And I was moved when I came in and I saw her this morning. She came all the way to deliver lecture to us, to open our mind, to open our brain, to the new trend, the challenges that you are going to even face this year. She's no other person. Please put your hands together. I want her to just stand here while pharmacist Folorunsho come back again to give her citation. She's no other person than Miss Adaku Ijara. I hope I pronounce it well. Please let that clap. Let it be loud enough.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Yomi, for another opportunity to do this introduction. Our guest speaker today is Ms. Adaku Ijara, an investment professional, wealth manager, and corporate lawyer, in brief. Adaku is an investment professional, chartered wealth manager, and astute corporate lawyer with over 19 years' experience, spanning legal practice, business development, investment banking, private trust, asset management. She has led high-performing teams to design customized investment strategies for institutional and individual clients alike, with the proven ability to develop and achieve new business, build repeat business, establish long-term positive customer relationships at all levels. As a catalyst for change, she is capable of critically evaluating and responding to rapidly evolving economic and business conditions. Ms. Adaku is the current MD and CEO of Emerging African Asset Management Limited, EAAML, the asset management subsidiary of the Emerging African Group, where she is significantly driving the growth of the firm's asset under management and profitability. This led to the award of largest fund manager noted in the FMDQ, that's Financial Market Dealers Quotation, in the 2022 FMDQ Gold Awards. As an experienced executive, she possesses strong diplomatic skills, a natural affinity for cultivating relationships, persuading, convening, facilitating, and building consensus among diverse individuals. She also possesses board experience acquired from sitting on the investment committees of the Emerging African Management Limited's 5 SEC regulated collective investment schemes. Prior to her role in the Emerging African Group, Adaku was the head of private trust at the United Capital Trustees, UCT. In her role, she was responsible for the exponential growth of UCT's private trust funds, which contributed significantly to private trust becoming United Capital's Group's fastest growing business. The feat earned her an award for the most execution-focused staff in the year 2017. Please, she deserves a round of applause. She was elected Vice President of the Fund Managers Association of Nigeria in 2022 and joined the Emerging African Capacity Building Mini MBA program, that is EACB, as a faculty member in 2023. In addition to her recent appointments, she is a fellow of the Association of Investment Advisors and Portfolio Managers of Nigeria, an executive member of the Association of Business and Professional Women, and National Secretary, Women in Finance Nigeria. She is also an articulate speaker. Who is invited to speak on issues of wealth management, impact investment, and personal finances. Adaku holds a Bachelor of Laws degree from the University of Nigeria and a Master of Law in Corporate Governance from the University of Manchester, United Kingdom, and was called to the Nigerian Bar in 2003. Adaku is also a chartered wealth manager and a fellow of the Global Academy of Finance and Management, GAFM. Join me to welcome Ms. Adaku Ijara, our speaker for today.
Thank you so much. I believe that we can do better. Let us, if there's anything that, when pharmacist Folorunsho Alaron was reading the citation, the one that I became so interested in, and at that point I wanted to start collecting her number and her card, is that she's the chartered wealth, isn't it? Wealth. So this year I want to be rich, and that is why I'm here. So please, whatever it will cost you to make me rich, Please, you need to do it to my brain this morning. Once again, put your hands together for Miss Adaku Ijara. I believe that by the time she comes up here, it's going to be a wonderful session. Unfortunately, now let me warn you before she comes. She has just 30 minutes to deal with you. So you need, 30 minutes. And I don't know how she's going to do all that within 30 minutes, but I believe that miracle is going to happen. So maybe we'll have to call Pharmacist Dave again to pray for everybody that miracle should happen, that do not let me go unless you bless me. Put your hands together as I make welcome the president of the association, and for him to give us a brief about this association. I believe that by the time he's done, you will run to become a member, and you will make sure that every member of your staff, they are also a member of this association. I will give you a secret after his speech. Put your hands together for him.
With the permission of the chairman, I'd like the guest of honor to have some remarks for us too. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So give honor to whom honor is due. I want to recognize Daddy in the profession, Pharmacist Atueyi, sir. Thank you for coming. God bless you, sir. And chairman of today too, who happen to be senior officer. Okay, you call him granddad or something. Okay, grandfather boss. Okay, I'm also lucky to attend the University of Lagos, University of First Choice, whether you like it or not. Great Akokite. Thank you very much. You're on your own. Thank you. No, not to waste time. I just put something down in black and white. The president of Pharmaceutical Sales and Marketing of Nigeria, Pharmacist Tunde Oyeniran. Our chairman of today, Mr. Ben, and the guest speaker, Barrister. Can I call you Barrister? That's okay. Okay, Adaku. Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, ladies, gentlemen, and men of the press. It is an honor to stand before you today as a guest of honor at this esteemed seminar on economy and business environment forecast analysis in Nigeria. I'm happy to see beautiful people like this and some of my colleagues that are here. The business environment in Nigeria is a complex one. We are faced with challenges, including regulatory uncertainty, especially in the pharma industry, inadequate infrastructure, corruption. When it comes to rep today, for the employers of labor, our main challenge is not only about getting money to finance your business, it's getting the right people to manage the fee. Because the way they are nowadays, young guys they are something else. Insecurity, depending on oil export, limited access to finance, and above all, fluctuation in foreign exchange. We all remember very well last year we passed through a terrible situation. Value of my friend said value of debt. It's only God that got to skate through. A lot of companies declare loss at the end of the year. There's no way, even if you're a prophet, I don't know how we manage to skate through, except by God's grace. But we thank God for being here today. All this make it difficult for people to plan. But as the chairman said, things are getting better. Looking at what really happened the last few weeks, Naira is appreciating, and we pray that it will not be like last year, because our hope was raised. Around February like this, we remember, it rose to about 1,900 naira to $1. In April, it went down to about 1,045 naira. Before you know it, it went back to 1,700 naira, 1,900 naira. So to make it difficult for people to plan, we don't need any prophet to tell us we all know Nigeria economy is in a critical situation at this moment. And the theme of this seminar is timely and relevant. I will seek to understand the intricacy of Nigeria economy and business environment, forecast future trend, and analyze the implication for our business development. To some of us who are in this hall, like I said, last year was horrible. But we hope, by God's grace, this year will be better. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to bore us with many words. We have a special guest speaker here who is going to do justice to this topic. But I want to implore us to all get our pens and jotters ready and listen attentively. Once again, I commend the organizer of this seminar for bringing us together, and we look forward to the insightful discussion and recommendation that we emerge from this seminar. I want to thank you, sir, for this honor from today and the organizing committee. God bless you all. Like I said to you, that has come to a stage when the society needs to set up like a school where we don't need to be advertising to, you remember, to look for rep. Just look for among the graduates, the graduate from the sales and marketing school of whether study or something you call it. So it will be easier for the story to move forward. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Thank you.
I find long speeches boring. So when I'm asked to make speech, my first consideration is how can I say the much I want to say in the shortest possible time. So you will permit me to run through this in a short time. Mr. Chairman, also permit me to abridge the regular protocols. And let me say good morning to everyone that are here. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, esteemed members of the Society for Pharmaceutical Sales and Marketing, both here in person and those who are online, I welcome you all on behalf of the Council, the National Executive Management Committee, fellows of SPSMN, and distinguished members of this society. I must extend my deepest gratitude to everyone that dedicated their time and energy and effort to making this event, our 2025 Economic and Business Environment Forecast Analysis, a reality. It is truly inspiring to see committed professionals sitting down here having put a lot of their time. I must say that this particular event is 100% self-funded by SPSMN. We didn't ask for sponsorship. We didn't get any, and we're not looking for money anywhere. This demonstrates our collective commitment to improving the capacity and competence of our members. We firmly believe that by investing in ourselves, we contribute directly to the growth and development of the entire pharmaceutical industry. SPSMN was founded on the principles of interaction, networking, and continuous improvement. Our goal is to enhance the skills, knowledge, ethics. So, when you come to ethics, we have a code of conduct everybody's supposed to sign. This is one of the challenges we have in the industry. Everybody comes without any sense of this is the right thing to do. Our members know what the right thing to do. It's up to you to ask them, are you a member of SPSMN before you employ them? We can't do anything except you do something about it. The integrity of every member is important to us. We promise to cooperate and collaborate with all stakeholders, including government, regulators, and the Aboriginal professional groups, as well as healthcare professionals. As professionals in pharmaceutical sales and marketing, we will just say that we play a very vital role in dissemination of information, brand building, wealth creation. Yeah, we make the money for all our bosses. And we make the money for government as well in terms of taxes that people pay. We are also the one driving revenue for our organizations. I used to say that for all the departments we have in any organization, including pharmaceutical company, it's only the sales and marketing department that brings in money. Every other department are cost center, and that we are the one that make the money. But we should not be worried. It's our job to make the money. So don't worry how to spend it. Just do your own bit. BCC will remember telling of those days. GT was saying, what's wrong with these people in UK? They always need money. And they're always asking for money. Because this situation that we are happened around 1994 as well, that we have a lot of economic problems. And they're always asking us for cash all of the time. So it's your responsibility to make money for your organization. Don't worry about how they spend it. However, we are the only group of workers, as I said, responsible for bringing money to our employers, indeed to the industry. It is about the time we are duly recognized and acknowledged for this humongous contribution to Pharma-Sales, business, and pharma industry. All salesmen here, please stand up for recognition, for your work, for your contribution to your employer, and clap for yourself. Please sit down. For too long, the contribution of those in pharmaceutical sales and marketing have been muted and without a voice. But this is the voice. We now have a voice. How we use the voice is up to us, but we now have a voice. I also want to address any misconception about society. There had been unfounded belief that we have come together for other reasons. Let me state that this is completely baseless. The only reason for our existence is what I mentioned earlier. No more, no less. Any other narrative are simply unfounded. At this juncture, I also would like to recognize the members of ESCO, of SPSMN in this hall. Please stand up for recognition. Members of the ESCO in this hall, please stand up for recognition. Most of them have been working tirelessly, using our money and time and resources to bring this association to where we are now. I am personally grateful to all of you, and even those online, I'm personally grateful for you. I hope and I wish I can continue to count on your contribution. Everybody is talking about me. I don't know how many things I can do without you. In short, I can't go far without you. Thank you very much. Please sit down. We continue to run this particular program every year, amongst other initiatives, to continually contribute our quota to the industry from which we earn our livelihoods. We plan to continue to hold this event every year, amongst other events and activities, to continuously and continually contribute our quota to the industry from where we are making our own living, we have a life, and we are building our future. I am confident that today's discussion will provide you with valuable insights to navigate the economic landscape of 2025 and achieve success in your sales and marketing endeavors. Very many thanks for your time and attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the President, for that wonderful speech. Please let us put our hands together for him once again. I hope we are not sleeping yet, because the time that, usually when we, on Sundays when we're in church, when it's about time for the preacher to come up, they said the time for sermon, they said the time that we have been waiting for is now. So the only lady amongst many men, powerful men, it is about time for us to listen to what she has in stock for us. So without wasting too much of our time, please, shall we rise and put our hands together as I make welcome Barrister, right? I'm permitted to call you at this point, Miss Adaku Ijara. Thank you so much, madam.
Please be seated, everyone. You're all making me shy. It's not that deep, please. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I want to stand on the existing protocol and go ahead with my slides. Thank you so much for having me. I like the energy in the room, right? It's really good. And it's a function of the fact that you all are salespeople. So salespeople are ebullient. their life, they're the life of the party, right? So that explains why it's not a gathering of boring pharmacists. So please give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. Right, so my task today, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it, but God will help me. I have a lot of slides, about 30-something slides. I don't know how long I'll have, if I'll be able to go through it, but I'm sure the slides will be made available to members, so you all can take your time to go through it. And of course, my contact details are at the end of the presentation, and I look forward to engaging with you all, please. Right, so the topic I was asked to speak on this afternoon, or morning, it's still morning, isn't it, is the 2025 Economic and Business Environment Forecast and Analysis. And then drilling further down, I was then asked to discuss the challenges and opportunities for Pharma-Sales and marketing practitioners in Nigeria. And I want to thank Mr. Chairman, as in you practically summarized my entire presentation in your few minutes. That's the guru, at work there. So he practically, summarized, my presentation this morning. So thank you very much, sir. Right, so we'll start first by looking at the Nigerian economy, right? I mean, that's where we're doing business in, right? Or do you guys do sales outside of the country? Okay, for now, you're all in Nigeria. Okay, but with AFTA coming up now, you guys should be able to go to Ghana and its environs, stretch your tentacles, right? You should be thinking big thoughts, right? Right, so looking at the Nigerian economy, I'll start by, this slide just speaks to our economic growth, right? And last year, as all of you have mentioned, last year was particularly challenging for a lot of us, even as individuals, in our family lives, in our businesses, everyone struggled, right? And so the economy, however, demonstrated resilience. And I keep telling people that if there's a resilience index in this world, Nigeria should be at the top of that resilience index. Because I don't know how we always roll with the punches, right? It's just amazing, and we just somehow just keep on rising. But that's the downside of it is that our leaders then seem to take us for granted. We've seen countries all over the world erupt, catch fire, with very small things. Wasn't it bread that caused the one? It was in Liberia or Sierra Leone or where? We saw the Irish Spring and all of that. But we don't have those sorts of things happening in Nigeria. Maybe that's why our leaders take us for granted, right? So the country's GDP grew by an average of 3.21% in the first 3 quarters of 2024, up from 2.45% that we had in the corresponding period of 2023. However, despite the robust growth, business confidence remained mostly subdued, right? We all saw that, didn't we? All of you that are in the field, you saw that business, the appetite for business was a lot subdued. It stayed below the 50-point threshold that signifies expansion for the most part of the year. I've got my graph here and all that, called from the National Bureau of Statistics, CBN, as well as the research of my team members. Right, so the oil sector returned to growth in Q4 2023. After a prolonged period of contraction, becoming a major driver of Nigeria's resilient economic growth in 2024. In fact, we saw that oil prices for the most part of 2024, average about $80, right? Meanwhile, the non-oil sector, which was the good thing that came out of all the turbulence of last year, we saw that the non-oil sector continued to expand, though its growth was hindered by the challenging business environment. In that same 2024, we saw that the financial services industry, we saw that there was a lot of growth there. We saw in ICT as well. We now have a Silicon Valley in Yaba, don't we? So we saw there were, some, highlights or high points in the course of the year. In the services space as well, even in construction, those are the non-oil sectors that led the charge in terms of, growth spiral. Now, from the graph here, you see that the red line, just shows the non-oil sector growth. So it was relatively flat, but we did see the non-oil sector, peaking in Q4 2023 at 12.1, and then in Q4 2024 at about 10.15%. Moving on, and then now looking at the pharmaceutical sector in focus, which is what I've been tasked to do this morning. And so the exposure to resilient sectors. So these are the sectors that were resilient in the course of the year, right? And we saw that the Nigerian pharma sector is a vital component of the country's manufacturing industry, contributing about 0.4% to aggregate GDP through drug production, distribution, and retail sales. Now, the sector comprises local manufacturers, importers, distributors, and retail pharmacies supplying both essential and specialized medicines. As of full year 2023, the GDP for the Nigerian pharma market was valued at approximately 980.7 billion, with expectations of continued growth driven by rising demand for healthcare products. In fact, we saw that in 2024, the share of the market size of Nigerian pharmaceuticals sector was tabled at about $1.5 billion. So that's a lot of money. And it just shows that even in the midst of all the challenges, there's still money to be made. There are still things, opportunities that we can actually take advantage of, and we'll go through them in, the coming slides. However, challenges such as import dependency, which you all know, and the foreign exchange, volatility have impacted growth, and the sector recorded a 3.9% year-on-year GDP growth as at the end of Q3 2024, which reflected the sector's resilience. And I did that, in this table just to highlight what I've just said now. So in the manufacturing sector, we have oil refining, cement, food, beverage, and tobacco, textiles, apparel, footwear, wood and wood products, pulp, paper products, and all of that. So you can see that, the green highlighted, is the chemical and pharmaceutical products. You can see that there was a steady growth between Q1 2024 to Q2 2024 up until Q3 2024 and ending the year at 3.9%. Now, inflation. So we can't have a conversation like this without talking about inflation, right? And we saw inflation rates, climb really high in 2024, actually ending the year at circa 35% by December year end, right? Compared to the 24.5 recorded in 2023. Now, one of my colleagues in the office who knew that I'll be here this morning actually sent me breaking news. Right, so there's a publication in This Day of Today, and it says, I'm going to read it. It says, after rebasing, the National Bureau of Statistics puts headline inflation at 24.48%, right, in January, dipping from the 34.80% in December. It said that, whether it's true is, but we'll wait for the report to come out. But this is in This Day of Today. It also says that food index has dropped from 26.08% from 39.84. Now, when you and I go to the market, or we give our wives money after today to go to the market, let's see if that will actually reflect in the price of foodstuffs. Core inflation now is also set to be at 22.59%. I'm no longer reading from my slide because this is now stale information. Right. So core inflation now is 22.59 from 29.28%. Now, it says that the new consumer price index reflects the current inflationary pressure, consumption pattern, and has clarified the decline in the rebased inflation. It doesn't mean that the general price level is declining. I don't understand what that English means. So you have rebased, and you claim that inflation has dropped from 34.8. And then you're still saying that the rebased inflation does not mean a general price level is declining. However, what we can say is that we have structural challenges in Nigeria. True or false? We have the high FX costs. There's a high electricity tariff hike, right? And another one is imminent from what I hear. There's higher energy costs, low agricultural yields due to insecurity and a myriad of other challenges, among others, fueled inflationary pressure in 2024. These challenges still exist. So these figures that are being bandied around, the jury is still out as to how, the integrity really of these figures, right? Because at the end of the day, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. If you and I go into the market and it is not changing the price of gari and yam, then what are we really saying, right? So, moving on, the monetary policy rates. So the CBN adopted a more aggressive monetary policy stance in 2024, and we saw a total rate hike of about 875 basis points, between January and November last year, compared to just the 225 bps during the same period in 2023. As a result, we saw that the monetary policy rates rose from about 18.75% in December 2023 to 27.5% by November 2024. The implications for this were huge. If any of your organizations had running loans, you probably got calls from your bankers, true or false? You got calls. They had to, restructure your facilities, hike up the rates and all that. So all these things had implications for you and I as businessmen and women. We also saw that the monetary policies, decisions were primarily driven by the persistent inflationary and exchange rate pressures, as well as the need to attract foreign capital, right? And so what we have seen, and then there's an MPC meeting tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday, right? So the MPC is slated for tomorrow, the 19th of February. So we'll see, what happens. But, all the experts are saying that they will be a bit more modest in the hikes because it really brought about a lot of, ripple effects in the economy, and not all of them completely positive. Even though they will say that, our foreign reserves and all of that have increased and all that. But all those things, whether it's 40 billion that is in foreign reserves, what it's important to you and I is that how favorable is the business climate for all of us to operate? That's the taste of the pudding, to be honest. Okay, so concerning foreign reserves, I'll just breeze through this very quickly. The gross external reserves surpassed the 40 billion mark in 2024 Q4 for the first time since February 2022, as the CBN's efforts to drive foreign exchange inflows continue to yield results. Yes, I will say that was, a bit, there was some positivity in that regard. We saw that there were about 2 domestic bond auctions in Nigeria in the month of, I think, August and September. The government raised about $900 billion, right? And what we then saw, right, was that all this, and this was a way of attracting all of us, well, not all of us, there's not the people in this room, people that have been hiding the dollars in apartment buildings in Ikeja and in sewage tanks and all that. So that was a way for them to bring out the money and, put it in the system, right? So it did yield some results. So we saw that external reserves increased by 24.2% in the 12 months of 2024. The gross external reserves were boosted by this improved foreign capital inflows and the inflows from the domestic dollar bond auction. So with the minimum of $10,000, you could get in on the action. Now, in terms of the foreign exchange markets, the Naira remained volatile at both the parallel and official levels throughout 2024, though with reduced intensity. It seemed to just play 2 at that 1.7 and, pretty much stayed there, after the sharp rise. The Naira depreciated by 41.8% at the NAFEX window and 26.8% in the parallel market for the year 2024. We saw that the CBN implemented measures such as curbing informal FX dealings. We saw that some BDCs were, their licenses were revoked. We saw that, BDC operations were, reformed. They eventually resumed those FX sales to BDCs and banks, and then something called the Electronic Foreign Exchange Matching System was also introduced by the CBN, which is just an online platform that is meant to, improve transparency, in the FX, sales and buying and sale markets. So what are the challenges, right? So I've talked a bit, I've already set the tone for the conversation in terms of the things that happened in 2024. And we're going to use that as building blocks to then to discuss 2025 and what we can look forward to. Now, we do know that in this space, there's competition from generic drugs, right? There's high demand for low-cost alternative, which means generics dominates the Nigerian market. Right? We also see that branded pharmaceutical products face stiff competition, requiring aggressive marketing strategies to justify the higher prices. The truth of the matter really is that I don't know what is going to happen about this space because you and I still do it. We go to the market and there's a named brand that is several thousands more expensive, and then the generic one that's a lot cheaper, not even a bit. You find that most people will go for the generic, at the end of the day. Right, but the truth of the matter is that for that generic space, then exists the opportunity for my brothers in Onisha and Aba to come up with and Idumota, okay, but okay, you're right. So Idumota, Aba, Onisha, to come up, with the fake variety. So how do we bridge this challenge? And it will be interesting. I'm happy to have this conversation after my presentation. How do you bridge this, right? So even in terms of, your forays in the market trying to sell to your clients, the tendency is that most of them will opt for the generic brand, which is what will move faster, right? The shift to digital marketing, which Mr. Chairman also mentioned, very important, right? And e-commerce adoption barriers. Many pharma-sales professionals, you still rely on traditional marketing methods, but global trends are shifting towards digital marketing and e-commerce. That's the truth. Companies now are slow to adapt, AI-driven marketing, e-prescription, and online sales models will risk losing market share. Now, you all as, professionals in this space, what are you doing to drive this? It's not going to take away your jobs. It really won't. If you can be at the forefront of these digital channels and all that, you will just make life easier for yourself. You no longer need to get in the car, drive around Lagos, spend hours in traffic. If you have these digital channels that your clients can place their orders, the same way there's Jumia food now, there's Chowdeck, there's Glovo, all kinds of things. Why shouldn't your association or your society be championing an app that would make life easier for all of you, and you would still get a lot more done with a lot less hassle. There's also the access to finance and high operating costs. So many local pharmaceutical businesses still struggle to secure affordable financing for expansion. And this obviously will limit growth potential, and companies may be unable to stock large volumes of medicines at a time. There's also the limited access to government contracts and public health procurement. And so the government remains the biggest buyer of pharmaceutical products. But access to these contracts is often difficult, as we well know, due to bureaucratic, bottlenecks and corruption. Smaller pharma firms will then struggle to compete with these larger, well-connected companies for public sector deals. I was going to ask, with the exit of the Sanofis and the GSKs, how has that impacted the markets that you found? There's what? Okay. So they've taken that share of the market that the Sanofis and the GSKs had. Okay. But are the drugs of the same quality? The generics are taking over. The jury is still out, right? So still on challenges. There's also the high cost of drug importation and forex volatility. I can't overemphasize that. And so many pharma products are still imported. In fact, from my research when I was getting ready for this presentation, about 70% of the drugs consumed in Nigeria are all imported. That's a lot, right? But I also found that they said that the largest segment for, drugs in, the drug market is oncology drugs. Is that right? Do you find more of a demand for oncology drugs? They said it's the largest segment. I saw that in the course of my research. Something for you to look at, to be honest. Because the truth of the matter is that, there's cancer all over the place now. Not everybody can afford to go to India and Germany and all these places. So you might want to look at that space in terms of oncology drugs, right? As a place you want to maybe focus on, have a niche there and be able to meet, the growing demand. I just thought to put that out there. Okay, so regulatory and compliance issues. Strict regulations from agencies such as NAFDAC, PCN require extensive documentation and approvals, lengthy approval processes, delay your product launches, and increase operational costs for sales teams. There's also fake and counterfeit drugs. We mentioned that already. Poor healthcare infrastructure and distribution challenges, pricing and affordability issues, which Mr. Chairman had already mentioned. So many consumers prioritize basic needs over medications, thereby reducing overall sales for pharma companies. Now, the economic outlook. So I've, listed it out here, and I'm just going to go through it very quickly because I'm conscious of our time. So, economic growth. The Nigerian economy is expected to maintain the resilience in 2025, though growth will be constrained by low productivity in key sectors due to the high cost of doing business. The service sectors will continue to be the primary driver of growth, while the Dangote refinery is anticipated to bolster economic productivity, right? Inflation is projected to remain elevated in 2025. Well, from the report that we're seeing now, that might be different. But we did hear that the economy was going to be rebased. And before this news story came out, the prediction was that inflation would maybe trend downwards to between maybe 27, moderate to about 27 to 30% levels in the course of the year. But now we see it's come down to about 25%. We'll see how that pans out in the course of the year. Now, barring any significant economic shocks, major drivers will include high energy costs, low agricultural output, because these insecurity issues are still there. In fact, even now more than ever. There are so many groups in almost every major part of the country and all that. So less people are going to the farm, So we have a budding food crisis, but it is well. The continued weakness of the Naira, among other structural challenges, is something that we can also look at seeing in the course of the year. The exchange rate market in 2025 will be shaped by both external and internal macroeconomic factors. While the Naira is expected to remain volatile, the extent of that volatility is likely to be lower than in 2024. And so Nigeria's reliance on imports and limited FX supply, will continue to weigh on the market. However, to achieve significant and sustainable capital inflows, it will require the successful implementation of key structural reforms to address the FX supply issues. So Mr. Wale Edun and his team have their work cut out for them, right? Monetary policy. The monetary policy rate is expected to stay elevated. However, we do not expect that the CBN stance will be as aggressive, and we'll start from tomorrow's MPC. By the time the MPC sits, we'll see what they come up with. However, the need to attract capital inflow still remains a major concern for all of us, even for especially for monetary policy decisions as well. And so what I've done here is, I have my impact assessment. So the indicators are here, the impact and the key recommendations. I don't think I'll have time to go through everything, but like I said, the slides will be shared so you can take your time to just, drill down. And so the first one, real GDP. So the FG projects that GDP will grow by about 4.6% in 2025. A projected 4.6 year-on-year GDP growth suggests a relatively stable economic environment. Okay, government proposed spending in this sector is still significantly low, though, at 3.8% of total budget for 2025. We've also seen that Nigeria has allocated about 1.91 trillion to the healthcare sector, but this is significantly below the 15% threshold as stipulated by the African Union in 2001. Comparatively, the 2024 budget allocated 1.33 trillion. Now, we must know by this time that the 2025 budget, the President's budget of restoration, he sent it to the House last year, I think November, December last year, and it was pegged at 49.7 trillion. We now know that the Senate has gone on to approve circa 55 trillion as our budget, right? Okay, let me not say what I was going to say because this is being beamed all over the world. Inflation, right? So it's projected to moderate to 15%. That 15%, as in every expert has said that it is not realistic. It's not realistic, to be honest, right? And so the high inflationary environment will continue to impact, the pharma product demand and the bottom line of players in this space alike. All of us as consumers will tend to prioritize cheaper medications where possible as our consumer pockets remain tight. Likewise, the cost of doing business is expected to affect profit margins, right? As well as elevated production and distribution costs. In terms of my key recommendations here, so focus on cost-effective drug formulations and expand your market penetration. So I would like to know, Mr. President, is this a Lagos chapter or is it a nationwide society? It's national, right? And you have chapters in every state. How often do you have engagements with them? Okay. Okay. Fantastic. You have your work cut out, sir. There's a lot of work to be done. Okay. Now, you need to focus on high volume, low margin products, given Nigeria's preference for over-the-counter medications, right? So there's a lot of lobbying that now needs to be done with yourselves and the MZOs and other pharmaceutical players in this space, right? You need to then begin to leverage on digital health platforms to enhance direct-to-consumer marketing. You also need to develop pricing strategies that will balance the need to cover increased costs with the need to remain competitive and retain your customers. So I like what you said about, who was it that mentioned something about added value? So it's not just about, you talked about, value-added services. Those are the things that you need to now begin to put on your thinking caps to know how you can retain your customer base, right? And considering the ongoing financial strain on consumers, you need to prioritize cost-effective pharma products. It's essential. Price-sensitive customers are more likely to offer affordable alternatives where substitutes are available. Secure bulk purchase agreements to hedge against price volatility. I'm also going to charge you on something as well, creating awareness. Every time I get on Instagram now, all these, will I call them herbalists or tradomedical, telling us to drink soursop, we should drink, we should eat ewedu, we should all those things are nice, right? But I'm just saying that for you in this space as well, you also need to come out too as well and also put out, campaigns, create awareness as well. Right? It's important to eat right. It's important, but lots of them are selling brews and different things. If it's just to send us to go and look for a way to, that one is still good. But some of them actually prepare the brews, the agbos, and tell us, they package them very nicely, 3,500 per bottle, 7,000 per bottle. Once you drink this one, your sugar will, and all these things, you don't even know the mix of the components and all that. So you're trying, in the bid to try and reduce your one sugar level, you're now battling with kidney. You're exposing your kidneys to all kinds of, So that's another recommendation I want to make to you as a society. You need to start coming up with campaigns to create awareness, right? You can ask us to eat vegetables, it's good. But the minute it now enters preparing those brews, you should be able to send NAFDAC after those people. When you catch them on Instagram, it's true. They don't have NAFDAC numbers. But by the time you see them, just quietly whistle blow. and send the NAFDAC after them, because the truth of the matter is that people will continue to look for alternatives that are cheaper. Instead of buying medication, diabetes medication, they'd rather drink one agbo that is 3.5 and all that. But what about the downsides of, and the side effects? Right, so exchange rate as well. So every indication from the government is that the government wants to retain the FX level, the exchange rate at 1.5, right? We wish them well. We even want them to bring it down, Zeph. But we'll start with 1.5 at least, and, pray that it continues to trend downwards. So the exchange rate volatility in terms of the impact would mean higher import and distribution costs for active pharmaceutical ingredients and finished drugs, right? A weaker naira increases procurement expenses, that's already a given. And so my key recommendations here are to actively seek government incentives for local pharmaceutical production. So there again, it takes you back to the lobbying aspect of your job, sir. Right, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and you can work with other pharmaceutical. There's a pharmaceutical society. There are other bodies as well. So I'm thinking that collaborations in that space, all of you can come together as one voice and begin to do your lobbying to people in Abuja. Right, focus on essential drugs with high demand in order to maintain cash flow stability. That's just smart business. Practice for you. Negotiate long-term FX hedging contracts with your suppliers. It is possible. Encourage local manufacturing capacity in order to minimize your FX exposure. And that's where, like I mentioned, begin to work with the local players in this space to see how you can, you have the like you said, you are the ones on the field. So you're supposed to come back and give, wasn't this in the Bible that Joshua sent the 12 spies? Right? In the Bible, he sent the 12 spies. So they went and felt the pulse, found out, and then came back and gave word. That's the same way all of you here are like the 12 spies. When you go out into the markets, you come back and tell your organizations what is happening. Client, customer preference, what the kind of moves or things that, the company needs to start considering in order to ensure that you maintain your profit margins. Interest rates currently at 27.5% plus X. plus X. Okay, so we need to begin to explore specific government-backed financing options for the healthcare industry. Come together as a body. There's power when you come together as a body, right? Seek alternative funding sources from grants and partnerships. Mr. Chairman, you mentioned partnerships, very important. Begin to partner with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundations of this world, right? I want to speak about USAID. Yes, that's the next slide. So, this conversation will not be complete without USAID, Abby. So I got this from the U.S. Foreign Assistance, their research, and it talks about the U.S. foreign aid to Nigeria from 2015 to 2024 is about $7.8 billion. $7.8 billion. Look at that. As reported, right? Nigeria has gotten over the last 10 years about $7.8 billion, and this aid has been instrumental in supporting key sectors such as healthcare, security, education, as well as economic development. However, the future of U.S. foreign assistance is uncertain now due to President Donald Trump's decision to halt aid to Nigeria as well as other countries. Now, the halt in U.S. foreign aid to Nigeria is likely to have significant repercussions on the cost of healthcare and pharmaceutical products, especially for critical ailments. I feel now that we'll probably start seeing a lot of full-blown, aids coming up now because antiretrovirals will no longer be easily obtainable. So there's a health crisis, if we really think about it in the offing. May God help us. Now, increased cost of medications. Many critical medications, particularly those for HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, are subsidized by the U.S. aid programs like PEPFAR. PEPFAR simply refers to the U.S. President's emergency plan for AIDS assistance or something. AIDS relief. Yes, that's it. The President's emergency plan for AIDS relief, yes. Without this support, the cost of these medications could significantly rise, making them less affordable for patients. Reduced access to healthcare services. U.S. aid funds numerous healthcare initiatives, including immunization programs, maternal and child health services, disease prevention campaigns. So does it mean that without the U.S. aid now, we will not look after ourselves as a people? This is so dire. Honestly, it has really, 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 really serious repercussions, right? So please think about as a society, what can you do? What can you do? My slides have gone off, sir. Has never taken lights. So what can you do, sir? While he's working on my slides coming up, what can be done? Because, Trump is his own man. He's his own man. If this could last anything from a year to the entirety of his tenure. So the impact on pharmaceutical supply chains, the distribution of this aid it will affect supply chains for essential drugs and medical supplies, leading to shortages and increased prices. So all of us as Nigerians should tighten our belts. This is particularly critical for life-saving medications and treatments for chronic conditions, right? So what the amount of money now we'll be sending to our parents now for them to buy their medication, will obviously triple and quadruple in some instances. And this is also a chart to all of us now. All of us now need to start eating right and exercising, because we simply cannot afford to channel the bulk of our finances to, drugs. It is well. So, opportunities for growth, right? So, Nigeria's pharmaceutical industry or market is expanding due to increasing healthcare demands, and that's the truth. It's an opportunity, the population growth, government initiatives. So despite challenges like bureaucratic hurdles and competition, there are several growth opportunities that exist for pharma companies and by extension, pharma sales and marketing practitioners. And so digital health and e-pharmacy growth, I've talked a bit about that already today. So the rise of telemedicine and online pharmacy platforms like M-Pharma, Drug Stock, and Health Plus e-commerce are transforming drug distribution and sales. I want to ask everyone in this room, is any of you familiar with any of these platforms? Fantastic. Okay. Fantastic. And so mobile and e-commerce penetration, Nigeria's internet and smartphone penetration creates opportunities for direct-to-consumer DTC pharma sales via online channels. So there's no reason why the society cannot come up with an app. There's no reason why you can't. Think about it. Think about it and let it be made to actually tackle the things that all of you have to do on the field every day. If the app can have that and, subsequently improve or increase productivity, why not? Expanding private sector and retail pharma markets. So more Nigerians rely on private hospitals and pharmacies due to the inefficiencies in the public healthcare system. We all know this. This, however, presents significant opportunities for pharma companies and sales marketing professionals in Nigeria. And so supermarkets and malls increasingly integrate pharmacy sections, creating new distribution channels. Now, you see that when you go abroad, the Targets of this world and the Walmart, they always have the pharmaceutical section, right? I know maybe just a few malls now, maybe the ShopRite of this world, we see that, but this is not prevalent, it's not widespread. So this is something that you now begin to, need to start advocating for. So many major malls, any supermarket should be able to integrate a full-on, pharmacy section, as, that would actually help to, increase your distribution channels. There's also the expansion of health insurance and HMOs, very important. So this is there's a lot of opportunity here. Right, and so the new National Health Insurance Authority mandates compulsory health insurance, which has thereby increased demand for you and for your services. Therefore, with more Nigerians enrolling in HMOs, there's a large market or a larger market for pharmaceutical sales to health insurers. I know that Lagos State as well, they've come with Lagos State a health insurance scheme as well. So it would be interesting to know if you're, talking with Lagos State government to know how you can work with them. These are some of the initiatives that you can consider in the course of the year. Right, so that means that insurance is no longer something that is just for people in private sector, that their employers can afford to, provide that for them, right? And so growth in specialty pharmaceutical, oncology, diabetes, cardiovascular. Right? So rising non-communicable diseases, such as those that I've mentioned now, have increased, thereby creating a high demand for specialty drugs. And so many Nigerians travel abroad for specialized treatment. So pharma companies can now introduce high-quality specialty drugs locally in order to reduce this medical tourism. Strategic recommendations here. So I'll just run through them very quickly. I'm so over my time. So we need to diversify your supply sources. And happy you mentioned Pakistan. I don't have that here, right? But I have here that to reduce dependency on China and EU suppliers by exploring alternative sources in India, Brazil, as well as local Nigerian manufacturers. And then I'll add Pakistan, right? I'll add Pakistan here. Hedging against currency inflation, fluctuation. So work with your financial institutions. With the kind of volumes that your firms do, you should be able to, be able to call your bankers and be able to agree on how they can support you. It's not just about taking your deposits now. let your banks also begin to support you and be your partners in progress. And so you can work with them to create hedging strategies that will help to protect you against Forex volatility. You also need to optimize your inventory management, implement predictive analytics to reduce overstocking or understocking, ensuring cost-effective procurement. Advocates for Forex allocation. So engage with the CBN as a body, as a pharmaceutical, but not just the society, the pharmaceutical industry as a whole. Engage with the CBN and industry associations to push for increased Forex allocations for your pharmaceutical imports. Adopt cost-effective digital marketing and then leverage telemedicine and e-pharmacies. And then also invest in your workforce training. I've heard quite a bit now about how, there's also the dearth of professionals coming into your space and all that. So that's also something that you can actually champion. So invest in your workforce training and ensure that all the pharmaceutical companies, they don't employ sales reps that are not certified with you guys. It's a very low-hanging fruit, and it's something that is easily achievable. So, I'm a saleswoman at heart, right? I just did a few slides. I know all of you are gurus here in sales, but I just put together a few slides just to encourage you. We've talked about all the, economic, macros and the challenges and opportunities and all that. I just prepared a few slides just to walk you through some of the things that you can do better in terms of improving your sales efforts in the course of the year. So please be patient with me. I'll be done in about 5-7 minutes. So, business origination. What is business origination? Because all of you here are business originators. That's what all of you are. So, this is a process of creating new revenue streams for your businesses. So, this year, more than ever before, all of you need to put on your thinking caps and think about how you can increase and even create, new markets and thereby, new revenue streams for your business. And so, the key steps include you finding new clients. So, how are you profiling your target hospitals, your target pharmacies, your target medical professionals? What is the depth of the penetration in terms of, you can't just be focused on Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, right? How do you extend to the Umuahias, to the Enagoas and the Kafanchans of this world, right? So generate leads. How are you sharing product information in order to initiate conversations? From these conversations you initiate, obviously business will come. And then closing sales. This is the bane of most salespeople. We talk to 1,001 people. How many sales are we able to close? So this year, let us all be closers, right? So we need to ensure that we're converting and onboarding new clients very, very quickly. Resales and referrals. So building long-term relationships so that you and I can continue to get repeat business, right? And so before you can originate, there are imperatives and tools that I'm sure all of you have these skills, but it's good to just have a refresher course, like I said, and just brush up on some of these things. Before you can originate, there are key imperatives. There has to be self-knowledge. You must be very conversant with what your strengths are, and, by extension, the strength of your organization, your weaknesses and that of your organization, the opportunities that exist, as well as the threats, right? So everyone here should do a personal SWOT analysis for themselves, as well as for the organizations that you represent. Organizational knowledge. So how familiar are you with your product portfolios? How familiar are you with what competitors are doing, right? You need to keep your eye on what competition is doing at every point in time so that you can stay ahead of the curve. Through preparation, so tailored sales pitches, value-driven discussions, right? So you need to elevate your conversations, right? Get on social media. It is here to stay. It is here to stay, and it can be a tool for massive, massive growth. So how are you driving those discussions? What are your Twitter handles like? What conversations are you, eliciting or championing on social media, on Facebook and all that? These things are veritable tools, Building your personal and your professional brand. So all of you need to package yourselves or repackage yourselves, as the case may be, right? So it's no longer a case of, my people know me and I know them. No. This year, we want to conquer new territories, right? We can't just be business. It can't just be business as usual, right? So all of us, through building our personal and professional brands, how are we projecting ourselves on social media? Because the truth of the matter, these days, when you get somebody's card, the next thing is that you go and check the person out online. That's what happens. You get somebody's card. Okay, let me check this person out. And sometimes some profiles can be very disappointing. So you've seen this Oga, you get on social media and there's little to nothing about him, right? So the truth of the matter is that all of us need to build our personal and professional brand so that when we come out, and we share our cards and all that, people will check us out. And when they check us, they'll want to do business with us because they've seen the profile, that we have. They've seen our online, digital footprint. So let this be the year that you enhance your trust and your credibility index via social media. Now, building trust is imperative, and you build trust by what? Showing genuine interest. So listen more than you talk. Listen to understand and not just to respond. I'm talking about when you're talking with your prospects. Share factual testimonies clearly and openly. Secure advance permissions. Avoid selling, that desperate product obsession rather than the client's need obsession. Ideally, let the client sell himself on the solution. And then pause. Don't rush to answer questions. Be thoughtful and careful with your words. And then voluntarily explain limitations, what your product can and will not do. When you lose your integrity, it's very difficult to regain, right? And so building trust, as a competitive advantage, the role of trust in Pharma-Sales, I've said that this will enhance your client retention and ease your negotiations. It will establish credibility with medical professionals and in the institutions that you deal with. There are foundational principles of trust, and these are the 4 cores of credibility. So you have character, competence, and under character you have integrity, intent. What is your motive? What is your agenda? What is your behavior? Right? Are you just there? It's obvious that you're just there to sell and get out, right? Competence, your capability, so your talents, your attitudes, your skill, your knowledge, your style, right? So capacity building is very key for all of you and for your team members as you go into 2025. And then results, take responsibility for your results, expect to win, and always endeavor to finish strong. Credibility, I've said here, is a foundational principle that enables us to establish and sustain trust at all levels. I've had a career of 19 years now and counting. I started my career in banking, and I'm quite happy to say that I still have some of my day one clients from my very first banking job. And this is because I've established credibility. So it's not about, so I have people following me from organization to organization. So regardless of the organization, the brick and mortar, is, I know you, have been dealing with you for the past. I know that you will not missell to me. If there's a challenge with that product, I'll be the first to tell you this is what the product can or cannot do. I will never missell. So all of you in this pharmacy must never ever missell. Very important. And please teach your subordinates same. So core strategies, I really don't have time to go through this, but I think it's you can go through this really. So respond thoughtfully to concerns, listen more than you speak, avoid that hard, desperate selling, integrity, demonstrate respect, create transparency. I think we can't overlabel, we can't overemphasize those. And then relationship mining. How are you going to mine your relationships this year? How? Right? So I said the process of converting acquaintances and relationships into business relations. To do this, you need to have and sustain your positive engagements. You need to build trust and value-adding relationships. You need to know people and like people, right? People deal with people that they like. If you notice, I mentioned earlier that I like the energy in the room, the vibe. All of you seem like very friendly, happy people. It's not a case of, sitting with boring, pharmacists and all that. So that energy, people will deal with it if they know you and they like you. Know your client profile for each product type. Know the value and benefits of your products and your service offerings. And then the common big omission, the great differentiator for you is winning businesses. Delight your clients so much that you can always demand for referrals. It goes on. I can't go through all of this, right? But the slides we made are available. So there are dividends of trusted client relationships, greater client openness, less price sensitivity, profitable repeat business, partnerships for new product development, and then you have anchor clients. These anchor clients, are the people that will follow you. Whether you move from Sanofi to GSK to wherever, these are clients that will follow you. They've become your anchor clients. That's what I call them. Right, clients withholding critical information, that's the risk of low trust relationships, increased price sensitivity, easier client churn. So you keep, churning clients. Negative references, nobody wants that, please. Okay, so thank you. These are my contact details. I hope you found my slides useful. God bless you. Thank you for your attention.
Let's put our hands together for Barrister. And maybe she will get another award today as the opener of our brain to 2025. Please put your hands together for her once again. Before we let her go, I believe that you may sit, please. I believe that we have one or two questions. Sorry. I believe that we have one or two questions to ask her. But there's one thing that I pick in all the things that she said. She said, let your social media profile match your personality. You understand? Because my wife run a business, And she will always tell you that the problem we have is not that there are no jobs in Nigeria, but there are no people. Yes. Recently, one of our managers called me and said that his rep was misbehaving. And I said, what is the problem? He said, the father died in December. She didn't go on leave. They did the burial. She didn't go on leave. She is now... So he asked, when are you going on leave? He said, sometimes in April. So I said, watch out. He said, for what? I said, schools abroad resume in January, May, and September. So check. So they started checking. You understand? So, there's a lot that... So my wife, usually we interview people. And after the interview, she will get all your profile. I learned that from her. She will get everything and she will go on Facebook to go and search. Go on Instagram to go and search the kind of person, the type of person you are. Because your personality is not matching what is on social media. You understand? So I think it's one of the things that we need to take home today. And she talked about building your profile on social media. Whether we like it or not, you have to follow the trend of social media. Because that is where the next generation, that's where they live. They no longer live with us. I have my daughter, she's been at home for the midterm. But for the whole week, yesterday I begged her, please spend time with me. Leave TikTok. Because when you get to her room, laptop is there, phone is there, internet is there. She came to me yesterday night. She said, Daddy, I think my internet is dropping. I said, let it drop so that you will spend time with me. So you need to be there. That's one of the things that she said. But I will give room for us to ask questions. I believe that we have questions to ask her. We didn't just enjoy the flow. Because when she started, it was like I was listening to Channels TV. But I didn't know that she is here live with us. So please, questions from the house, from the floor. She's ready.
Once again, let me join the MC and the entire audience in applauding your stellar performance. It didn't come to me as a shock. Thank you so much. Especially the last part of the presentations. It sounded like a professional selling training program. And I had to check her profile again. You're supposed to be a lawyer. So thank you so much. Madam, you have done very well in trying to give us a broad perspective of what 2025 holds. There were two issues that got flagged run up to after the budget presentation. The National Bureau of Statistics talked about rebasing Nigeria's economy, and they mentioned things like prostitution, drug activities, and some other illicit activities that were also financially, how will I put it now? They carried a lot of financial rewards. There were good financial components in those things. They said they were going to rebase and include that into our GDP calculation. I expected that I would hear something from you on that. That's number one. And then number two, the tax reforms. There was so much hue and cry about the proposed tax reforms. And from a non-expert perspective, I thought it would have been very beneficial. But as it is now, as of today, I don't know where the position really lies. Because the governments were against it, and then eventually the government came up with their own version. So where are we on that matter, ma? Thank you so much.
Okay. Do you want to take this one first? Okay, thank you very much for those questions, sir. So regarding the rebasing, right, So that's why I said that, I shared the breaking news from today and all that, right? So I'm not going to go back to study the basis for this rebasing that's been done, because there was a hue and cry really about, that's... there are shades of gray, right? I know there's a lot that happens from prostitution and all those things, but can you really begin to now rebase your economy, on those sorts of things? So there's a moral question, So what I can promise you, sir, I will go back and do the research and find out this breaking news now, because we thought the rebase was going to happen further along in the year and not, so early now, right? So I will go back and do the research and find out exactly how they've come up with some of these figures, right? So please permit me. Right. So speaking of tax, so this tax is a burning issue. In fact, I was at Augusto earlier this week. They had, was it last week? No, it was last week. Well, this is Tuesday. And so they had Mr. Taiwo Oyedele come to, talk to us about, the tax reforms and all that. So one thing that is clear, the government is set on the reforms will happen, whether we want it or not. Because the truth of the matter is that all our tax laws are outdated. There are some tax laws that we're still using as far that the British left for us. Check out when the British left. So we still have 1950s tax laws that are still in operation in Nigeria today. So it is not really a situation that is sustainable. So whether the reforms will happen or not, it's very clear that they will happen. What you and I need to do now is that we now have to start engaging, because the tax reforms have been undergoing the first, the second reading in the House and all that. So you and I, as citizens of this country, can also engage. Right? Have we even studied the reforms ourselves? Let's even study it for ourselves, because the truth of the matter is that they want a situation whereby the poor will no longer be taxed, because there's multiple taxation. That one is a given. He gave the example that if you go to any popular street now in Lagos now and put up your banner that you want to start business, before the end of that week, you would have had 5 or 6 agencies come. The ones that will come with Okada, the ones that will come with bus, the ones that will come, by foot and all that. So all those things are the things that, he went into a lot of detail, about how all those things will now be, reduced to the barest minimum. And then people at the very lower, levels of society will no longer be taxed, the way they're being taxed. Because all those things, whether you like it or not, if they come to you, those people in the market squares, as far as they're concerned, it's government that is taxing them. Whether the money actually gets to government is a story for another day. So those tax reforms are going to happen, but it's just in terms of how, it's going to play out. So there are ongoing conversations. So you and I need to start first by educating ourselves. So make a mental note, study those tax reforms so you even know how it will affect you, because of your own payee as well, and even in terms of the business taxes that you'll now be expected to repay. I'm not a tax expert and all that, but I'm also just trying to follow the conversation to also know, how it affects my pockets at the end of the day. Because, I work in private sector, so the tax is deducted at source. So it would be nice to know what, the palliatives will be or what the incentives will be ultimately in terms of the tax reduction that would occur, So thank you for those questions, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it was a very insightful presentation. Okay, I think I should start with congratulations. I think we must all congratulate ourselves, because 1 year ago, I don't know how many of us remember what February was like. That's when we were jumping from 1,002 to 1,005 to 1,007 to 1,009. I think 1,900 was the... Okay, so this year we have a very different outlook. So first is congratulations to everyone. But some things that were mentioned in the course of the presentation that I think are important to address in terms of the direct response, the team here should have in their own organizations. So first is you mentioned, if I heard correctly, a need to look at high volume, low margin, right? Products. So I really want to understand the choice to go in that direction versus maybe why not low volume or high volume, high margin? Why not that? Okay. And then if you are considering high margin products, maybe you can share some insights you have on those channels as well. Number two would be with the changes that are projected to happen. We expect, if you look at the Federal Ministry of Health, if you look at some states like Lagos has Ilera Eco, and there is a massive drive to onboard more people into the HMO system, which further complicates the challenge of decreasing footfalls into community pharmacies, because if everybody is on HMOs, then they'll get their medication likely through hospitals, different tiers. So there's primary, secondary, tertiary care, right? And if they're getting their medications through those facilities, what's the advice in terms of pursuing aggressively the community pharmacy channel? Is this something people should invest more in or invest less in? All right. Also, there's the online marketplace. All right. In terms of percentage market share, in terms of volume of transactions, how much do you think is happening online? We hear a lot about it, but do we think realistically at this point that 1% of drugs are supplied through online channels? And if you have any projections on how that can grow. Now, I'm asking these questions being fully aware that data in Nigeria is not very easy to come by. All right? But I just want to know what your perceptions in terms of market direction and impact is. So there's the opportunity to make, a very big projection about an effort. And I think that's happening to virtual market spaces, where it's very loud how we are projecting virtual market spaces. But in terms of actual volumes of transactions happening there, do we think it's significant? Do we think it's even 1% of what is currently happening? All right. So that's the second question.
That's the third.
That's the third. Okay. I have a few. Should I slow down? Okay, so the third will be more towards the fourth. Will be more towards some of these questions is 1A, 1B.
They have babies, have they?
So yes. So the fourth one, I think, should be appropriately responded to by the maybe by the president or chairman for the Society of Pharmaceutical Sales and Marketing of Nigeria. The reason is in terms of the regulatory landscape. All right, it was mentioned in everybody's presentation. What efforts can we do? We are the most directly hit by regulatory delays or changes in that landscape. So is there a plan to use this platform to advocate for reforms or faster processing of regulatory? I just want to understand, is that a consideration? And finally, this is from the sales aspect. So you have inflation. We've all agreed that there's inflation. And he alluded to it in one of the examples that he gave recently. And this is my question. What happens normally when there's high inflation is people suddenly, the pay they are on can no longer resolve their needs. And when that's a reality, there is this school of thought that the fastest way to resolve that situation is to switch jobs, right? So you feel that if your current employer gives you a raise, maybe that raise will be 25% or 20%. And where we are today versus where we were last year, you have maybe a requirement of 60% raise to maintain your previous lifestyle. So what would be we can have this as a discussion, but your opinion, others can contribute. Would it be for organizations to go lean? So you reduce the number of staff so that you can properly compensate the best hands you have. That's an option. Or do you ignore and say, if they go come? Right? So what's the general direction that we are taking here as the key stakeholders in sales and marketing teams in terms of how we will address that? Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent question.
Should we take 2 more?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, 3 more. That's 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Ms. Ada. Quite an insightful presentation. Even though I was expecting, when I saw your credentials, I was expecting you to teach us how to be wealthy, just like the MC alluded. Yeah, maybe next year. So we'll stay poor till next year. I hope not to. So, once again, thank you so much. Quite elaborate presentation. You did mention, and that was when I added that you wanted to know what happened to the market share, volume share of the likes of Sanofi and GSK after they left. Yeah, for a while, because I operate in some of those spaces as direct competitor. For a while, there were increased demand for alternative. And trust our brothers from other parts of the country, they saw the opportunities there, and there was some kind of, it's actually smuggling, but they call it parallel importation from different countries. And I would like to know what regulators are doing to this kind of happenstances in the pharma space. There's a lot of unregulated activities going on. In fact, for the first time in 20 years, I think the last time something of this sort happened, because there's currently an inspection and enforcement in major drug markets in Nigeria, and they are clamping down on some of these things that have become a norm. So in fact, some of the new apprentices in that market, because I go to the open market as well, some of the new apprentices are surprised that why is this happening? This is in line. They don't even know they are doing the wrong thing all along. So that is one. What can we do as players in this space to get the regulators to enforce some of these regulations? That's one. Secondly, I did overhear, maybe on radio or on TV, I don't know which, that there is a plan to reduce FOB tariff or actually eliminate it on some products. Because you did mention in your presentation that you were surprised to note that imported pharmaceutical finished goods are actually responsible to about 70% of our consumption. And I believe as a government that is looking at increasing GDP and reducing inflation, I think it's important they address the need to increase local consumption, because our capacity is actually growing. And what I have observed is that all of the imported products are not as essential as they make them seem to be. So we have capacity around essential medicines. And what is government likely to do in 2025 to address and actually help local production to get traction? Thank you.
Okay, 2 more.
Okay. Thank you very much. Of course, as others have said, we really commend your level of experience and broad knowledge in what you do. For me, the concern I have is basically that of financing of businesses. It's quite very challenging, and we know that the government has given a waiver for VAT for the pharma industry in terms of the VAT. But I think they should do more in terms of, giving loans that have lesser interest and longer terms of payment. Because most challenges we see is we see people taking loan from bank, and they will now have to pay 30% interest, which is sometimes equivalent to your own profit. So it's, you see, the pharma business is very, your turnover, when they see it, it's interesting. They come and meet you for loans, beautiful. But when they don't give you this loan, if you don't take time, you find out that you end up working for them. I have a lot of colleagues who are some house slaves now, but they will not tell you. They have entered some kind of loans that it's only God that will help them over time. So I think there should be something maybe in the future where government can still look at. If you really want to help pharma industry, apart from taking off you have to look at working with the banks in a way that they can give them longer loans for them to work with. I've done some, I've done some seminars on SMEs where they say an ideal loan should not be up to 10%, and it should have a time where you will not start paying, maybe like 6 months. But in Nigeria, it's just short time. Then also for the area of you brought an idea, which also I think some of us who are consultants here have been doing in one way or the other, which we'll try and see how we can normalize and also make us more relevant to what we are trying to do. I mean, as regards the vision of the president of this group. When it comes to reps and everything, I have a Salesforce academy too, where we help train reps and employ as an added value for companies. So instead of just recruiting, we also train, and I think some people from sales rep of Nigeria have done 1 or 2 things with them. But my question is this: many companies, I don't know, 2014 was a tight time for many people, so maybe many companies didn't they couldn't afford to pay some consultants to work for them. Some took up the challenges of recruitment themselves, and now they entered into a lot of problems that some of us have been mentioning here, where you have reps who have done a lot of things, who have involved in sharp practices and everything. You don't do your check back. You don't do you don't check on the background of these people, which is the job of consultants, right? And lastly, you see people telling you that I want a Christian to work for me. I want a Muslim. I'll be like, that's what they call consumerism. You have to look at that. I've seen people who I will put up an advert. People come all the way from Kano. They will drive down on their own for this interview, and the company will now tell me that they don't want that person. They want a Christian. But for the person to drive down for not to hear, that person is a salesman. Because there's some key attributes a salesman should have. The ability to travel long distance at short notice. We have seen managers who say they are managers in the north. They stay only in Abuja. They don't go anywhere. And anyway, these are things that doesn't really concern, so not dwell much on it, but these are concerns that I have, which I think the group will look into. And also, if you can give us some insight on what you think should be done for the pharma industry as regards financing, I think it will go a long way. Thank you.
Okay. Because of our time, we are taking the last question.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, colleagues, the chairman of the occasion and our speaker. Let me join everyone to commend the presentation. We appreciate. Looking at the Nigerian economy, we know that NNPC has been telling us our daily consumption of PMS is 60 million liters per day. But when subsidy gone, that was the way he put it, subsidy gone, all of a sudden our consumption has not topped 6 million liters per day. My question is not on that. My question is, what has the government done with the subsidy, the amount that we are, because, the saying goes, follow the money. Yeah, I could see a slight increase in the health sector, in the budget, 1.33 to 1.9. That's very small. During the Abacha regime, when subsidy was removed, and the fuel went from, I think, less than 10 naira to 19 naira per liter, PTF was created, and it was obvious that health was a priority, and almost 30 to 40% of the subsidy was moving to the health sector. So where is the money going so that leaders in the industry can also be able to trace and follow the money? Let me say this, because there are also some pessimism, I was listening on Ray Power Fact File, and people were asking. They said there is job, have been produced. There are more jobs in the society, in the country, and people were asking, where is the job? Me, I have not gotten job. But what people didn't realize is that there are some government policies that have actually been creating jobs, and I've been a proponent of private sector job creation than government just recruiting like they did in Imo. They recruited 10,000 people, and they were just on the football field. They resumed there on the field, and they're doing nothing, and they are paying. That's not how to create jobs. That NAFDAC 5+5 policy is driving FDI. I'm not saying FDI, I'm not talking about portfolio FDI. Real direct investment, because now companies that are importing must produce locally. Is a must, M-U-S-T. Highlighted, capital, bold. You must. Otherwise, you have to start a new brand name. Oh, I told NAFDAC DG, it's easy for me. I have a successful brand. I can easily come and say, formerly called so and so. Now that. It's easier for me. I put marketing behind it. People will follow me, because I have, like she said, anchor customers, But, however, that policy is forcing people, My organization acquired a site for 2 billion naira. It was dollars that came to acquire that site. And at the end of the day, we're going to cost us almost 5 billion for the factory to come up. It's real investment coming in. This said, I know the contribution of pharma is very small. Overall, what's your opinion? Is the economy outlook this year going northward? Or what's the possibility that it might go southward? Because that summarizes what we have come here to listen so that we could plan to mitigate the risk. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for your questions. Excellent questions, all of them. So I'll start with what you said, sir. So you note in my presentation, I mentioned that farmers' contribution, I was very surprised in the course of my research, is just a pittance, 0.4% contribution. With everything that is happening in the healthcare space. You can imagine.
Because when we brought Professor Soludo
to
our conference,
right,
he came and he said, let the whole industries close down. Government will not bait and highly. Because you are not making any impact.
Yeah.
That time it was 0.001 something.
Can you imagine?
That's immediately after Soludo stepped down from CBN. So It's actually a big growth that we have seen now.
A big jump to 0.4%. So what I will task everyone here in this room today, a lot of the questions that all of you asked also center around advocacy, right? And that's why I said that as a body, right, you need to partner with other pharmaceutical bodies within your space. There's strength in numbers. Come together, itemize the issues that are of common interest, your common pain points, right? And begin to now have effective strategic lobbying mechanism. The truth of the matter is that in the America that we know, there are people that make their living as lobbyists. That's what they do for a living. They are lobbyists. In different, niche sectors. So why can't all of you come together and agree on who would then be your lobbyists in Abuja? Because these things are the things that affect all of us in this room, right? The fact that it's a mere contribution of 0.4% to GDP, then that means even if all the GSKs leave the country and all that, is no skin off the noses of our people in Abuja. Do you get? Because what's the contribution, to be honest? Is next to nothing. That means Nollywood is doing better than all of you. unfortunately, So there's still a lot of work that's to be done. But Mr. President, I applaud you. The journey of one step, Abi, of 1,000 miles begins with one step, right? What I would charge you is that at, get-togethers or meetups like this, chart a strategy. If it's just 2 or 3 things that you want to, don't spread yourselves too thin because you all have day jobs. Right? You all have day jobs, right? Don't spread yourselves too thin. But if it's just 2 or 3 strategic initiatives that you want to see to fruition, that this is what we want to achieve in 2025, and if you're able to do that, it will actually move the needle significantly. Then we are talking, right? And then you'd also be able to look back and on the legacy side of things, as in this was what I was able to do during my tenure and all that. So there's a lot of advocacy that needs to be done. Where are the jobs? The truth of the matter is that the way that our government goes about certain things really doesn't. You just call people, give them one ministry will employ 10,000 people to just go there and be eating groundnuts and pushing paper. That's not it. What we need is very strategic PPP-led, initiatives. So working with the private sector. Working with the private sector is very important, and also to be able to generate those jobs that you talked about. Financing. I think I'm going to do, there's an intersection of the question you asked about financing and yours as well, sir. In terms of financing, what you do need in this space is patient capital, and that's where the capital market comes in, right? That's where the capital market comes in, because it can actually help you to access patient capital, right? And not have, like a knife over your head, when you're working with the banks and you have to pay your 30, it's even more than 30% in most banks, to be honest. It's a lot more than 30% lending rate now, a lot of banks. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So I believe that at this point in the association's life, you can now begin to explore. Mecure, for example, they have a commercial paper that just came out. Are you guys aware? Mecure, that's accessing money through the capital markets, right? They accessed about 3 or 5 billion it was this year. Right, I think that issuance is still on. So these are some of the initiatives that you all can begin to explore, and all that. You can access money from the capital markets, and it doesn't come at the same high cost that you would get from the banks. Obviously, you need to put a lot of things in order, right? Because when you go to the capital markets, there's a need for increased transparency, your books, everything. You have to structure up. Right? So structure up so that you can access funding through the capital market. That's a surefire way for you to be able to access better financing, right? I'll leave it there because I could spend the whole day on that. Regarding regulations, somebody asked about regulations, and I also want to find out, what are you guys doing with BOI? What are you guys doing with BOI? A lot? Okay, but you can always deepen that relationship. They have a lot of capital to deploy, right? But like I said, you need to structure up before the BOIs would also want to be able to come in and help your organizations as well. In terms of local production, that's for sure. Local production needs to be increased. I mentioned in the course of my presentation that over 70% of our consumption here in Nigeria is from imports. What that tells is that there's a lot of opportunity. That's simply what it means. The flip side of it is that there's a lot of opportunity. But how then do you now improve on local production? And the gentleman at the back that asked about, whether to do high margins and low volumes and all of that is just all wrapped into one. And I'll tell you why. We've already established that Nigerians like generic over-the-counter as against the name brands, right? So if there's increased local production, I was so happy when the whole COVID-19, we started seeing vitamin C. That one that you can dissolve in water. A lot of them are locally made now, but that wasn't the case before. So I see no reason why we should still be importing vitamin C, for crying out loud. With how prevalent malaria is, there is no reason for us to still be importing malaria drugs. So these are the low-hanging fruits I can explore. Maybe when it comes to the oncology drugs and those more specialized drugs, it might take a bit more doing, right? But local production can be increased. And when you go to a BOI, if you package yourselves and package your requests and go to a BOI, that you want to improve local production in this particular sector, even if it's for drugs for immunization for children, that's a large market because babies must be immunized. So there are certain things that we shouldn't be outsourcing anymore. USAID has shut its doors to us for now. What's going to happen? Are we all now supposed to all die off? God forbid. We now have to put on our thinking caps and look inwards. Maybe sometimes it's good when these things happen. So it forces our leaders, it forces we ourselves as the citizens to even begin to put more pressure, in terms of lobbying and asking them to do the right things to, fund the sector more and all of that. So the issue of, it's an employee market too. Right now, it's happening in my sector as well. I work in the investment banking space. It's an employee market now. The people that are jack-buying are now leaving space for people who have less experience, But they all come and they want more money. I was talking to my head of HR, just the other day, and it's a similar problem. It now costs more to replace staff. Because when you do your best, all of you in this room, to keep your good hands, because when they leave, it's more expensive, and you're not even sure that you're even getting people of the same requisites, experience, and they all want more money, right? So it's very important, in terms of retaining your good hands. So I would advocate for a leaner structure. If it means going leaner so that you can retain your good hands, then by all means do that, right? And then you can also look at getting, part-time or ad hoc personnel when you have projects. And if there's a particular campaign or something, you can, consider having ad hoc staff that can come in for that 2-month or 3-month period. Just, look at what you can do essentially. But it's the truth of the matter that between the JACBA syndrome, it's causing a lot of, vacancies. So there are jobs, but it's just for experienced people. It's just for experience, because when people leave, people definitely have to replace them. In terms of the online marketplace, right? So you answered the question, sir. We talked about there's no data. There's really no data, and that's the truth of it, But what I would say is that going by what is happening now in the food and beverages space, right? We all saw what happened in Dirty December in Lagos. Who knew that short-let apartments was going to be so lucrative? I don't know if any of you have seen some of the data that has been thrown around about the amount of, dollars and pounds that were brought into the system just by the short-let over December. That's the power of data. So you and I now, when we see those figures, we can say, okay, it's like this short-let business is good business, and you then want to go into, because there's data to support the fact that this could potentially be a lucrative venture. What I will say is that regarding the online markets, we just know that the world is moving digital. The world is moving to AI, is moving to digital. So whatever you can do to position yourself so that you will not be kept or, found lagging behind, please do it. You can have a portion of your market. So everybody, every business should have the potential or have the capacity to pivot. You can't say this because this is the way we need, the traditional way of doing things, and that's how you are going to continue to do it. You must, as a business, be ready to pivot at any point in time. And pivoting includes the online space. So even though there might not be enough data now to support it, the truth of the matter is that if you look at what's happening in the Glovos and the Jumia Foods and all of that, you see them at all hours of the day, carrying food here and there. You see that the logistics space too has become an attendant business that has also leveraged off the e-commerce space and all that. So why can't it be drugs? Why can't it be drugs? So don't look at it as it you're taking away your share of the market. Just look at it as every business you should have an online e-commerce division, right? Every business at this point should have a new business, or just should have a new business department. What I mean by new business, that these are people that are thinking strategically. What are the disruptors? Who are the potential disruptors in this space? How can we guard against those disruptions? And you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. We all know the story of Nokia, right? Don't we? We don't know the story of Nokia and BlackBerry and all that, right? So think about the potential disruptions that could happen in your space and begin to think about how we can ward against, or how you can even jump on the bandwagon and ensure that you're not left behind in that space. I hear you about the HMO system. The truth of the matter is that with the HMO system, the hospitals still need the drugs. So if it's moving from the pharmacies and all that, the community pharmacy, there's decreased footfall, then increase your focus on all the hospitals that are HMO registered. I ask you, my dear gentleman, do you have a list of all the HMO hospitals in Lagos, for example? If you have all the hospitals that are on that are HMO registered and all that, or work with HMOs and all that, there's no reason why you shouldn't be working with them. So that's the potential, that's new business. That's the origination that we talked about. So this year, think about how you're going to originate business. For whatever thing you think has a downside, there is always an opportunity embedded. You just have to think through it, think deeply, and you'll surely find a way. I've tried to answer everything in summary. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I think I've touched everything as much as I can.
Somebody still want to ask one last question. They don't want you to go.
It's not me that is delaying you.
Thank you very much for the good questions and the answers you provided. Even as a barrister, you touched virtually every areas of pharmacy. That is quite interesting. Now, you provide an answer to some of the questions. You talk on advocacy, that most of the questions borders on advocacy. Now, in a situation that government made pronouncements, executive orders were signed, and now come to implementation, there is issue. Take, for example, the government of this current government made an executive order in June last year. Up to today, maybe tomorrow, it has not been implemented. Now, what do you encourage or what do you advise us as a society to do under that situation? For example, there are some duties that are supposed to be cancelled on some of our products, on some of our inputs. But up till now, those duties we are still paying up to today. And this order was given since June 2024. So what will you advise under that condition? Thank you.
That's a great question. And it still boils down to advocacy. I ask you in this room, do you know the Senate committee chairman on pharmaceutical or health or whatever? Do you know? You were with him last week. As a body or as daily need? As an individual? Aha. You know? So it won't be as effective. It won't be as effective. So come together as bodies, not just an SSPM, as you know, SPSMN. Sorry. So come together with all the other existing pharmacy bodies. You know, come together as a body. It's so important. It's so very, very important. Right? There's only so much you can do when you're just there. But I applaud you. I mean, it's good that you have him on speed dial. You have him on your phone and all that. You have access to him. But as a body, you need to be going to Abuja. That's just the way we're wired as a country. You need to be going to Abuja. You know, so your budget too should also include, you know, your costs for. It's part of the cost of doing business. It's part of the cost of doing business. Thank you so much. Thank you all for your attentiveness. Thank you for your engagement. I've had a great time. I've learned so much myself. Thank you so much. God bless you.
I think we can do better. Let's put our hands together for her. It seems like today should not come to an end. She kept going on and on. And it's been an interesting session. The only wish I have is that we should have second version by tomorrow. But it's going to be funded by, they didn't send me. And I'm doing it because pharmacist Folonshaw promised that he's going to pay me in kind. Yes, so this they didn't send me, but I want to, advocate that all the pharma company that is represented here should also be a contributor to the purse of the society. I think it will make a lot of, because we are sitting under a conducive atmosphere, and it's been wonderful. They have also fed us, and they said there was no offering raise for this. But on that note, I would like to also recognize, an important personality in our midst also, pharmacist Moses Oluwalade, the MD of Miraflash Nigeria Limited. Please stand up for recognition. Shall we put our hands together for him? You know, some of us, we just see the product. We don't know the man behind the product. Today you are seeing the man behind the product. Just like pharmacist Sheye, the man behind the product. So when I mention them, just say the man behind the product. Yes, so that's who they are known for. Also, we want to recognize another important personality. We don't want to close without mentioning your name. We appreciate your presence. Pharmacist Biola Paul Uzio, the Lagos State Chairman, Healthcare Provider Association. That is what we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for making out time to come and attend a program like this. I believe that this is just the beginning of greater things that is to come. Please, I would like to, there's a part that is going to be a little bit difficult for me to take because of our time. But if the president will permit me, I went for a program sometimes towards the end of last year, and it was a program that was organized by my company and also the Rotarians or Rotaract. I don't know how they will call them. And, before towards the end of the program, after all said and done, you know what they did to me? They collected my number and I saw two of them, actually arguing over what? What part should I belong? So they want to snatch me. So it was a case of you must join by fire, by force. So if you know that you are not a member of SPSMN, please can you rise up for recognition? Just rise up. We want to recognize you. We want to clap for you. You are not a member. You are not a member. Please, we want to So these are the people that are not members. Please, can you take their names, their phone numbers, by the reason of their presence here today? Sir, they are members. Okay, by the reason of their presence here today, you are members, and please, your annual due starts now. No, from now, sir. The year is just beginning. So, please don't let them go without, please becoming a member. It's an association that, please, I'm telling you this, and I'm not joking about it. It's an association that sometimes in the nearest future, with the likes of Barrister, dishing out this kind of information, is an association that you will, I pray you don't regret it that you didn't join at the right time. But it might become a little bit more difficult. We may ask you for some documents that you may not be able to provide until you go to Abuja to get it. It is on this note that I would like to invite the president, the chairman, the body of fellow for the presentation of plaque to the keynote speaker. So shall we put our hands together for the president? At this point, I will hand over the microphone to the president once again because he knows how to do this better than me. Please put your hands together for the president. I see the new members. They are not clapping for their president that is called. I don't know why you are doing this. So, the more you clap, the less your the amount you are going to pay. So you better clap. But before we do this presentation, pharmacist chair, he has no option. He's automatic member. He has no option. He must be a member today. And if I hope is written on it that Barrister is also a member. Yes. Once you receive this, you are a member.
Yeah, I was going to say that we have a cadre of honorary members. So it will not be out of place if she becomes one. Please come forward. Award of recognition presented to Ms. Adaku Ijara in recognition of your outstanding contribution to the pharmaceutical sales and marketing profession of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sir, please come. From the Society for Pharmaceutical Sales and Marketing of Nigeria, this award of recognition is presented to Mr. Ben C. Chine, my grandfather boss, in recognition of your outstanding contribution to the pharmaceutical sales and market of Nigeria, this day, 18 February 2025. Please come forward, sir. From the Society for Pharmaceutical Sales and Marketing of Nigeria, this award of recognition is presented to Farm Sheye Agbola in recognition of your outstanding contribution to the sales of pharmaceutical sales and marketing of Nigeria, dated this 18 February 2025.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. You may just wonder why these people really deserve the award. But I will tell you something that they truly deserve the award. These are the makers of men. If you ask me, why did I say so? The people that have been given award today, at one point or the other, some reps have actually worked under them. Some managers have actually worked under them. And if you ask why barrister then, because barrister has made us today, isn't it? So put your hands together for everyone that got the award today. If you didn't get award, I want to assure you of one thing. Just be a member and your own award is the next in line. So tell your neighbor, your award is the next in line. Tell your neighbor now. You know, moments like this is hard. You know, it's hard to say goodbye. But at this point, we need to bring the program to a close. And before we do that, I have a session where we would have given you a brief about the Society for Pharmaceutical Sales and Marketing of Nigeria. But what we are going to do in order to save us our time is that we are going to have it in soft copy, and everyone that is present here today, I believe you have written down your names, your phone numbers, and your email. We will share with you for you to have idea of what the society is all about. And please be encouraged to join the Decent Society. At this point, I would like to hand over the microphone to the chairman of today's occasion to give his closing remark.
Yeah, thank you very much. I must say congratulations to everybody here for at least making it to the end. There are some functions that you attend by middle of the session. It's like a half of the participants are gone. But I have noticed that everybody who was there at the beginning is here now. So congratulations and well done. And congratulations to the president and chairman once again of the council for making today a reality. If you invite us tomorrow, if you invite us next year, I'm sure some of us will see you around. And maybe we'll have the privilege of becoming members by then. So I think what we have learned today, the important thing is one thing that kept resonating from the speech of the guest speaker is advocacy. That's the challenge. In fact, I was going to ask a question, not to the speaker, but to the professionals here. These fake drugs, I grew up in this country and I started hearing fake and adulterated drugs. And up to today, I'm still hearing it. Why can't this scourge be stopped? And can anybody present a data to say that year in year, that we have tracked it by 50% or 40%? Do we have even data, the success that we are making, the success or otherwise? You see, because we can say that we are fighting fake drugs. Are we really fighting that fake drugs? And the other issue is, are we sure that the professionals are not involved in this fake drugs thing? Are we sure that it's all the Onitsha people? I don't think so. Are we? Is there any monitoring system to be sure that the so-called our brothers who are professionals are not involved in this ugly business? So I think there's so much that needs to be done by this body. Like she kept saying again, partner with the other member organizations. I think that is very important. There's a battle. This battle should be ongoing. This battle should be ongoing. So on that note, I would like to thank everybody who stayed to the end of the program, and I wish you well as you go back to your destinations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So on this very note, we would like to call on the man behind the scene. So when I say the man behind the scene, I mean he's the director of programs who came up with a wonderful program like this. But before I call on him, did we learn anything this morning or this afternoon? Anything to take home? It's not just CEOs that learn, because I've noticed that the people that kept talking, they are the CEOs. So I'm going to start rubbing minds and shoulders with them so that I will also become CEO very soon. Thank you, sir. So I'm sure we will learn something this afternoon. Please, we are going to try as much as possible. She's promised us that we will circulate the slide, to every members or everyone that participated in this program, so that you can go through at your own leisure time. You will see at least one thing that speaks about your job. It's on that note that I would like to call on the big man behind the scene, pharmacist Folorunsho Alaron, to give his vote of thanks. And he's also going to double because he's a prayer warrior, so he's...
Thank you, Oluyemi Daniels. Let me quickly correct that impression. The real brain behind this program goes to no other person but our president, the leader of the pack. He has a software of pushing all of us, and I believe that through him I've learned a lot. That just have that vision. Nothing will impede it. Nothing would stop you from achieving that thing you want to achieve. There is no impossibility in anything, And I say kudos to you, sir, and for the gentle way you've been able to manage us. Many of us are executives in our different places of work, but you've been able to galvanize all of us to see the same vision you're seeing, and I can assure you that we are keen seriously into that vision. On that ground, as director of program, like Riley introduced, I'm here to give the vote of thanks to everybody that is here. And we are so glad, we are so happy that somebody was saying that it's a weekday, maybe we should take it to a weekend. And I'm saying that even on weekend, people are so engaged too. So really, if you want to look at it, there is no better time to do anything. What shows is just the show of love and the interest of being able to galvanize in the thing you want to do. And the massive show of love to this program, particularly the concern that everybody wants to see the new outlook to 2025 economic, and it shows a lot of concern to every one of us in our different places of work. Without any particular protocol, I'm begging your impression to please let me start on the existing one. But I will just say, from our chairman, Mr. Benson Chime, sir, I'm a very young guy also in the sales and marketing, but I just read in your citation I'm like, wow, these are the grandfathers of this profession. Now, one day to get there, and the foundations you laid is what we are following up, sir. I mean, I can see the trail. I'm very connected to that journey. I'll say thank you, sir, for making that time and agreeing to be the chairman of this occasion. We actually learned a lot under you. Our guest of honor, Pharma-Sales, the true masquerade behind the product, Dr. Mark. I mean, I'm happy to see you for the first time today. I mean, I've heard about that. We are not unaware of the brands in the market, but seeing the masquerade behind them is another ball game entirely. We say thank you, sir, for the time you created for being here, graciously accepting to be our guest of honor, and the wonderful contribution you made to the topics on ground. That takes me to the speaker, Ms. Adako Ijara. I was very overwhelmed in reading through. And like Redley said, going on social media, immediately I had to read the citation. I actually went to check you on LinkedIn. But it's true. And it was, wow. And sincerely speaking, we are not surprised. We are not disappointed. In fact, my colleague said that maybe the only thing is maybe the other aspect of it. We teach us how to make money. The wealth part. But you see, you've given us a very strong foundation on the outlook to expect in 2025. And to me, personally, it's quite relieving that in the heat of the events of 2024, based on some drastic things that had to be done, I believe so, we are gradually coming out of it. And I believe that we're going to be better for it, sincerely speaking. Actually, I say thank you, ma, for the time. I know you've done a lot of research. I mean, you were talking like you're a pharmacist already. You've been in the, nice. Thank you so much. We appreciate your help. And before I go to my colleagues, let me go back to my president, Sunday Oyeniro. Yes, appreciated, sir. I need to organize that position because without your vision, we can't be here. And this is just one of the several messages. Yemi was saying something like we've not really had time to let you know what we do in SPSMN. Just last weekend, we had training. I've been involved in one of the training. The last one was mind-boggling on transformational leadership. And these are the things we try to give to members of the SPSN that, these are the training you only get by training-oriented pharma setups to equip the skill set of their sales team. So I'm now seeing it across the industry, a group, a society, giving out that free of charge. Just create time and be there. And I learned a lot. And I think it's just wonderful. And if you don't join the bandwagon now, it might be a time that it might just the stake might be very high to be a member, and yet everybody will want to be a member. I think it's a good thing for us to come on board. All of us, if you are not yet a member, please do, and let's get our cars going. And that goes to all the fellows of the society. I say thank you for all the support and all the work, and that goes to also the executive members too for the time created. I mean, many of us are not here today because of some very tight engagement. I know you are online, you're watching as well. You wish you were here. Some could not travel, but they are in their different location. Thank you for all the contribution that you have had and everything. And of course, to all our invited guests, you had the choice to stay in your business. You could be there, coming in both online and on-site. You created time. We thank you very much for your time being here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for your time. I think this year is going to be better off for me. I have a fresh insight. I saw a lot of opportunities. And one thing that struck me hard is we keep on saying this is not good, or we say things that are, rather than saying difficulties, within that difficulty, there are the upturn, there are opportunities in that difficulty. And I'm taking that home, and I hope I can just apply that to my business and my team as well. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, pharmacist Folonshaw Alaron. Just to add to what he said, on Saturday, so I have I have developed a culture in my own office as the person who is in charge of sales and marketing pan Nigeria. Whenever you send notice for those trainings, I forward it to my managers. If you don't attend, forget what will happen after that. One of the managers is here. It is mandatory for all the managers in my office, whether you are a member of SPS or not, you must attend it. And after the program, I will ask them questions, yes, about the program. So I think we should try as much as possible because, see, you can't give enough training even in the office. You cannot give enough training. And look, if your organization or your people lacks training, is a major problem on its own. It is a major problem. So if you cannot give all that training in the office and you have a platform where you can get it for free, I think we should try as much as possible to encourage our staff to be part of it. I have managed managers and I have seen them, the way they behave. Some of them, they are managers because of the position. You understand? They don't even have that emotional intelligence. These are some of the things that we will learn on this platform. So please, let us try to encourage our staffs, our members, to be part of the training. Share with them when it is shared on the group. This is to let you know, a final announcement, that this program is available on Pharma-Stream TV on YouTube. So the man that is sitting here, he has the capacity to put it on YouTube, so you can go back and check Pharma-Stream TV. You will find it, and other programs that is past and that is coming up. So he is a man that is putting us on YouTube. On that note, please, I would like to request that if there is anybody that is a Muslim here, to give us a closing prayer. Anybody that is a Muslim, for the closing prayers. Thank you so much. Shall we rise for the closing prayers?
Guidance on each and every one of us. We pray for the protection of his office to each and every one of us as we are departing this place. Whenever we are coming back together, we pray that it should be a cause of a blessing to each and every one of us. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amen.
Sorry, before you go, we will adjust this place for group photographs so that the banner will be will show. I think you should take the opportunity to take pictures with these powerful men and women. The high table come first. Sorry. Please don't go without taking pictures. The high table first. Sorry, can we have the organizing committee? Pharmacist Follow Alaron and Alagba, Pastor Dave. Let's have the high table people sit down. Why members of SPSMN, Mr. Godwin, Madam Chinyere, Photographer, please. Other participants? Okay. Fellows. 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 Have you taken it? Madam Chinyere, falling. Other participants, new members. Other participants, new members. Please take note of their faces. Thank you so much for coming. See you next time. Okay, new members. Hello. Hello. All new members, can you put down your name with Madam Bimbo at the entrance? Bimbo, look at this lady wearing black. What's your name? Huh? Told me. Hello.